So the first thing is first, we're going to have them roll to see the order of fighting. We're just going to roll leader versus leader, which is Kev versus Bloody Valentine. Kev gets a 5. Bloody Valentine gets a 4. Kev wins. So despite the fact that they're caught off guard, the Luck and Law side, it's called ELO Executive, but it's Luck and Law, they get to go first. Seeing that a war is broken out, or that a war is about to break out, Kev is going to immediately attempt to suppress and create like a basically, we have 3 turns here. So he's going to attempt to set up barriers of defense using his role against a passive opposition of, we'll say, 4 seems reasonable. So he is able to create a passive line of defense by getting all of the What team and Peacemakers like aligned in an area where the 7 devils are likely to be moving. Now they have a +2 to their next roll. They've created that line of defense. They have a strong line of defense. If I was able to easily write on this, I guess I could. It's just kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. Strong line of defense. There we go. They have it right there on the sheet thing. They have a defensive line. Their action is going to be that he is going to order the troops to make a lay down suppressive fire against the opposition to try and just like wing as many targets as they can as these forces are coming in. He's going to have Alkesha handle that because she is pretty good at shooting and creating ricochet or suppressing fire, like figuring out the lines. With a 4 against Bloody Valentine is going to have we'll say Coltrane roll against that to make sure that their movement is being covered. It's not. Coltrane is going to invoke the engulfing chaos of the area to make sure that as their troops are moving and trying to get around the incoming suppressing fire, civilians are getting hit, causing the Peacemakers and What team to kind of relent a little in their fire, and as a result, they're not able to hit as many troops as they want to, because Seven Nation Army is using basically the Moon Citizens as meat shields. That's what Coltrane's expertise brings to the table. He invoked the scene aspect of engulfing chaos for this, and then finally, movement. Kev is going to use the Peacemakers to attempt to move these guys into a better position to try to get and surround the enemy forces as they're incoming to District 3 of the Moon. With a 3, see how the Seven Nation Army soldiers, they cannot rout this. So as a result, on their next turn, we'll say that the members of the Luck and Law group have an advantage on their next move roll, a +2, and a +1 bonus, I will say, to their next defensive roll. And their next, +1 bonus to their next defensive roll because they are in a higher position. They're harder to hit, so it's an advantageous thing to do. And we'll say that's really going to be the bonus of being able to move properly. That you get a boost to defense, or in the case of Seven Nations, boost to their offense as well. So seeing this immediately, Parker Coltrane is going to try to move their troops into a better position. With a 4, defensively, Kev wants to make sure that they're not going anywhere, so he's going to be the one to kind of roll against that. He gets a 4. He gets a +2 from his defensive line. He's going to invoke that once. So once that's invoked, it's no longer a free invoke, but he gets a 6 on that. Parker Coltrane is going to invoke himself. No, you know what? He's going to succeed with a consequence. So he's going to put their troops in kind of the faces of the Peacemakers that are kind of defending the high ground. It's going to result in them being much easier to hit at point blank range, but it's also going to mean that they are like chaotically in the face of their enemy. So while Kev Kavan succeeds, the action that's going to be taken is actually mentally going to be a chaos/confusion tactic by Halloween Jack. He's going to attack their mental stress. So Halloween Jack's going to roll with a +2, giving him a 5, and then he's going to invoke. I'm saying he's going to invoke twice. He's going to invoke Motivated by Fear and no quarter given, as the Seven Nations troops just begin to march through with flamethrowers and just smoke bombs, seeding chaos throughout these the ranks of these these moon forces. The effect is not so much physically damaged, it is mentally traumatizing, as they also see civilians getting torched, and it's gonna fuck with them really bad. So they will take let's see, if it's a 5, then it's a 9 that they're rolling against. Because Kev's already rolled, he's not going to be able to roll again. Instead, we're going to have to rely on we'll say Akasha, who just rolls with the 2, resulting in a difference of 7. Because of psychological warfare, he, instead of a 7, it's going to be an 8. So we will do an 8 on this team. That means they mark off the 5. Oh boy. We'll mark off the 4 on their sheet, mental stress, and moderate consequence, like complete chaos. Now, normally during this turn, Kev would be able to have rolled against that because it's meant to cause disruption within their forces, their ranks. But he had already acted, so he can't act a second time. That's also important to note when you're doing the 3 actions per turn thing, is you can only use one approach once, which includes their stunts. So, and that includes their defensive stunts, really. Because of this, now the ELO forces, the moon forces, have the mental consequence or social consequence complete chaos. They've succeeded. The Seven Nation Army has succeeded in making their movement. Finally, they're going to create advantage, invoking that using actually Halloween Jack can't act again, so instead it's going to be Bloody Valentine who has to take advantage of that, to create advantage rather. So he is just going to command the forces to try to overrun any possible points of escape and try to set up a deadlier line of attack. So he's going to try to roll to create an advantage. Holy God. The only person left on the team who's really good enough to roll against this is Katie. She's going to roll 4. Still too low. That means that next turn, Seven Nation Army has a +4 that they can invoke. As they have created the advantage, disrupted defenses. They've imposed disrupted defenses. Bloody Valentine has coordinated his forces into completely demolishing the defensive line, more or less. I would say with a roll like that, their defensive line aspect is now deleted. They can't hold that anymore. Just narratively, it doesn't make any sense. They're gone. Things are looking pretty bad as the Seven Nation Army is overrunning the Moon's forces here in this limited engagement in District 3. So that is their turn. Falling back a little, Kev is going to command the Peacemakers to move them. This could prove to be very bad. We'll find out. He's going to spend a fate point to re-roll. Because, good lord. A +1, okay. And he's going to spend another fate point to boost that to a 3. So he's invoking that they have a laser-eyed civilian militia, and that communications are controlled, meaning the enemy may not get a good idea of where it is that they're going to try to move to escape to. They're trying to escape. That's going to be very bad because Bloody Valentine can roll with the 10, and he does, because he can invoke that free +4 from disrupted defenses. But because the Peacemakers are the one who made the move, that means that Luck and Law team only takes a 5 physical stress. It's cut down by half. As Bloody Valentine just starts making sure to either throw his ring or order his troops to shoot at those who are trying to escape. It's part of his strategy in war to, as soon as the enemy starts to show their back, that's the target to hit. No mercy, no quarter given. In fact, if I wanted, I could have him invoke on that for no quarter given, but I don't think that we should. Instead, he's going to invoke he's not going to invoke anything right now. The movement speed has been done. Kev Kavan is going to use Katie to try to come up and create an advantage for the team. Something gamble, something risky. With a 3, it's not really going to be able to succeed in creating an advantage unless Kev spends that last fate point. and he's going to make sure that this happens. So I'm going to spend that fate point. He's going to invoke Defending Forces of the Moon because this is like the last shot, and if they fall here, he doesn't know what will happen. Maybe the other ELO guys will be able to sweep up after him. Who knows? But she's grabbing Katie and shaking her and saying, "We figure something out." But they've moved successfully. There's bleeding peacemakers lying all over the place, and finally, Alkesha is going to lay down some more suppressive fire towards the enemy to try to maintain some sort of distance. With a 1, she's not really able to do it. I mean, I'll have them roll anyway, but yeah. Parker Coltrane easily just like has the barriers needed of like now ruined buildings between them and the enemy, like knowing where to station the troops so they're not in open line of fire. A unique circumstance is going to happen here. So because they were caught off guard and because right now things are looking very bad for them, I'm going to allow these enemy forces to accept help where they maybe don't want to, because third faction has appeared, one that is both harmful and helpful depending on how you look at it. All of the fighting, the emotions running high, have attracted the attention of the QSS. They now stand as a third faction in the middle of this fight. They are being introduced. It is not a fate point, although to accept their presence, because it is a complication, I'm going to give the ELO side 1 point of 1 fate point, and I'm going to give the Seven Devils 1 fate point because this invokes both of their troubles in a way. The ELO was caught off guard, and Seven Devils are extremely chaotic. This kind of compels both of their troubles at the same time and adds another layer of consequence. So to go over real quick with the QSS, we're not going to give them a big sheet. Instead, we're just going to treat them to scale, like we're treating the two forces here, the 2 different forces. So they're going to act on their own turn. They're going to have the same 3 different actions that every other group takes, but they are basically wild cards. They will attack one or both or neither, depending. They may terrorize the population, but they have been introduced as kind of this very chaotic element. So now that they're added to the fight, it should be a lot worse for everybody involved. Maybe. We'll find out. The QSS begin to emerge from, around corners and pushing their way out of destroyed buildings where they may have been just sleeping or dormant. These are the wild, former, genetically created, altered, engineered law enforcement entities that the Moon planned to use to suppress the stand-using populace. Instead, they have been psychically infiltrated to want to suppress all emotion, and because of that, now that there's the flames of war rising, the QSS are pushing their way up out of the wreckage and engaging all sides, attempting to stop all emotion. Now we're going to see how both sides deal with this. So first of all, Kev Kavan sees this and says, "What the fuck?" And the Bloody Valentine sees this and says, "What the fuck?" It seems that a third player has entered the fray. To determine where they are in the turn order, first of all, let's go to the turn order just real quick. Active engagement. We're going to add this Luck and Law and Seven Devils. Seven Devils, or Luck and Law was 1, so we're just going to say 3, and then they are, Seven Devils are 2, and then we're going to see where it is that the QSS go to. So the QSS are going to try to roll against, we'll say, coordinate. What do they get? Ooh, they're actually first in order now. That's higher, I believe. No, they're second. So we'll say second. So they're second. And Seven Devils is last in line. Okay, so Luck and Law is able to act first on a new round, but they did already just take their action, meaning the QSS is up next. The QSS emerges, and seeing that there is a very chaotic side, they're going to focus on the Seven Devils first. They're just going to use their coordinate action to attempt to create an advantage against or actually attempt to move in. So this is their movement round. They're going to attempt to move in. Let's see if they can get close enough or in a good position to attack. Against this, Bloody Valentine is going to just have Halloween. No, he's going to have the Seven Nation soldiers try to stop them. They can't. Seven Nation soldiers are overwhelmed by these very strange, almost alien type forces that seem to just walk past bullets and aren't afraid of shit. The QSS is going to then attempt to suppress the Seven Nations soldiers with an attack. It's just a 3. I'm going to roll a 3. Parker Coltrane is able to get those forces to fight back, push back against these guys so they don't take any damage, but they're still like kind of entangled. And then finally, the QSS is going to attempt to create an advantage. The front face plates that they have begin to crackle as a bright light begins to stream out of their face. They are attempting to blind the opposition. I'm going to say that likely isn't going to be a problem. Yeah, Halloween Jack is able to order his soldiers quickly to look away before they are blinded and otherwise disrupted, having their minds scrambled by this strange kind of overwhelming light that exists within the QSS. So currently the Seven Nation Army is locked up against the locked up in battle against the QSS. If they want to move to a region where this ELO is, they have to pass both a roll defensively against the QSS and against technically the ELO, who are basically, if you imagine this, they've got the QSS attached to them, the ELO around the corner. If they want to get to the ELO, they're going to have to get past that and deal with the fact that they're running face first in the ELO. So it's going to be very difficult for them to move at this point. So with that in mind, the thing they're going to try to do instead is attempt to move around the QSS to get a better position on them. Coltrane is going to again try to do this. The QSS are going to try to fight against it. They can't. They are a little bit out of sorts. They're not exactly a trained force yet, or they're a little slow. They're just waking up. So Parker Coltrane is able to get his forces to quickly rally and improvise a manner around these guys. Bloody Valentine is basically going to coordinate an attack on them, seeing that they are not at all dissuaded by the horror of war. He doesn't think it's worthwhile to try to have Halloween Jack use anything against them, like any kind of thing to invoke fear. They don't look like they're capable of feeling fear, in other words, and he can tell that. So instead, he is going to just try to do like direct attacks on them to try and shoot them down. So let's see if he can do that. With a 5, let's see if thinking. Jesus. Well, I mean, he has a +2 to his attack because of Parker Coltrane's stunt about movement. But that really just causes 2 physical stress to them, to the QSS. Yeah, he's going to just like have to live with that. Actually, before he gets to that, he's going to have Halloween Jack. So let's just rewind. Pretend he didn't attack yet. He's going to have Halloween Jack try to get all of these QSS, try to like line them up in a corridor of gunfire. So he's going to use Halloween Jack to try to create an advantage. The 6. It works extremely well. So with a +4 or the 4, that's going to mean the next roll comes at a +6 against the. Okay, that's yeah, that makes more sense. So if we take Bloody Valentine's original roll of 5 and a +2 and then a +4, that means that he rolled an 11 and QSS have an incoming stress shifting of 6 to deal with. So yeah, a little bit better, obviously. They're going to mark off their 2 physical shift box. Moderate consequence, riddled with bullets. As once he's got everything lined up, Bloody Valentine he tells everyone, open fire, man! And they just start blasting right down the line, machine gunning these QSS with like miniguns. It saved the ELO from being the ones to eat those bullets. And that's kind of the QSS seems to be what they're interested in doing right now. So now we have the 7 Devils have taken their turn. Let's go. It is ELO's turn. They're going to see that their QSS and the Seven Nation Army are both like wrapped up in combat. Kev Kavan is going to order Alkesha, or he's going to order Katie to create an advantage to figure out how they can capitalize on this with a very long-term bombardment. Katie is going to roll the 3 and a 1. Kev is going to spend his... No, he's not going to spend his fate point. They're going to succeed, but Katie informs him that if they engage in a long-range bombardment right now, the odds of it going badly in the eyes of the civilian population are high. So there's a lot of eyes on them right now. So if they were to just do like an orbital blast at them or something, it's going to look like really bad. It's going to worry the civilian population, meaning that basically rolls, they can succeed on their roll. They'll create an advantage, but if they take advantage of that, then any roll taken against the civilian population to cause panic is going to have a +2 bonus to it, basically. So we'll say worried populace. Worried but hopeful. So scared populace, sure shot. That means that they can take that shot, but it's going to rattle the cages of the people. Kev Kavan takes that into advisement and then instead chooses to use Akasha to move the group somewhere where they can take the shot and try to minimize casualties or minimize negative consequences, repercussions for the team. So Akasha is going to roll a 2 to try to move because there's no enemy forces currently actively engaged with them. There's no real passive opposition to have to worry about there, or a real opposition. But because she rolled low, it's going to be, I mean, it's an okay spot, but it doesn't do anything doesn't do anything about the angle of the PR, whatever you want to call it. So Kev now has a +2 to his next roll, which he's going to take advantage of by launching an attack, a long range bombardment on both sides. He wants to do, so he's going to try to, with an 8, mostly he's gunning for the Seven Nation Army in this case because the QSS already look like they're riddled with bullets. So Seven Nation Army has to roll defensively. See if they can. They will take 5 physical stress as their troops are just kind of like shot with a huge spray of bullets, laser bullets. Side note, as GM, now I am very glad that I reduced stress boxes down to 5, because if this were at 10 with the way we're doing stress now, this fight would last probably 2-3 hours. Right now, if you look at both sheets, both the ELO and the Seven Devils, you notice that they aren't like particularly full up. The ELO doesn't look great right now. And the Seven Nation Army hasn't taken any consequences. So this fight would take probably forever to do on that note. So we're going to do like probably 1 or 2 more rounds and then we'll see what happens. Let's go down the line then to what's going to happen with the QSS, who are next in combat. So QSS, seeing that their enemies are being like basically riddled with gunfire, and they've been riddled with gunfire, press on into the Seven Nation Army at first. But then some of them attempt to split off and go towards where that rifle fire came from, all those long range bombardments. So they're going to split their forces. This is going to require a movement thing. Because not all of their forces are moving technically away, this doesn't count necessarily. Well, no, we'll say it does count as an escape. Let's see, Valentine. Ooh, yikes. They're going to take 5 physical stress for trying to break off. Attack of opportunity, boy. He's just going to invoke, actually, they're riddled with bullets consequence that they're the ones who put them on. So he's going to invoke the fact that they've been riddled with bullets. He's going to also invoke that there's no quarter given, providing him with another +2. So this is the original roll is a +4 basically. No, a +6. I'm sorry. So he's going to just take them out basically. As they're trying to like break off and engage both sides, he's just going to order open full bombardment on them as the Seven Nation soldiers just unleash all hell. Flamethrowers completely burning this group down of the QSS. They're done. They don't even get another action. They're just taken out the moment they try to split their forces. This causes them, the Seven Nation Army, to rally their own forces, giving them a +2 boost as they are freshly, they have gotten a fresh kill there. So a fresh victory. Fresh from victory. Because they succeeded in just completely annihilating that enemy team, I'm going to say that warrants a little boost for them on their next action, and it is their turn. So they're going to go charging towards the population. Actually, they're going to hunker down and begin a more long-term engagement. Now, this is where when you do things to scale, you can absolutely completely change the time frame that you're dealing with. You may remember earlier I was talking about how in a fight, it's not 5E rules. We don't have to do second by 6 second by 6 second by 6 second. So if on a turn you want to expand the time frame, the time scale, and both parties or everyone agrees to it, that can be done. And when I say that, the time scale is up to us as like players and DM. So it can be as long as a minute, or it can be as short as a minute that you're trying to expand it to, or it can be as long as, if you really wanted to, a year. Now, the roles would still be done in a lot of the same ways. It's just that we would have to narrate what happened like year to year or even season to season or something like that. So, for example, we would say like general movements, how quick during this year do the ELO forces like manage to get to and respond and suppress the forces of the Seven Nation Army? And those would just be move rolls. Creating advantages would just be a matter of trying to say which side are you able to gather resources properly or make sure everyone's well stocked during this war. And then the actual blast and bombardments, different engagements that both sides have, like with one another, firefights, we do that too in that way. And so with that in mind, we're going to expand the time scale here from basically 6 seconds to 1 year, which sounds crazier than it is. Don't worry. So if we're expanding from 6 seconds to 1 year, then we're picturing a year of war and we're handling the roles as results of that year. For anyone who's been curious about whether or not this is in the official game or canon or whatever, these little showcases, they're not. So please don't take it as that. So within a year, Seven Nation Army is going to hunker down and begin a very long-term engagement. Well, let's not say a year. Let's say a month. Because it's unlikely that within a year something really crazy wouldn't have happened. But a month I could maybe see. Maybe. We'll say Jeff is busy hunting down cosmic jellyfish. He hasn't been able to show up to change anything. So within a year, here's what they're going to do. To create an advantage, Halloween Jack is going to attempt to put pure terror into the populace to get them to not fight back against the Seven Nation Army and not help the ELO. The 4. Now, this is where Kev comes in. Kev has a thing in this. Defensively, he can roll against, he can use his order maintain stunt to try to keep order basically in place. He succeeds. Seven Devils, though, is going to create or use their last fate point. They have, they know what it is to be motivated by fear. So they are going to invoke pure terror. Or actually, he doesn't even need to use that. He doesn't, because there is a boost with fresh from victory. So right coming off of their victory, as they engage in this month-long dig-in, Halloween Jack knows exactly what the group needs to do. And using the troops' morale, he's going to use everything that he can to invoke terror in the populace. So he doesn't even need to use a fate point. He just invokes that boost. Shifting from one time scale into another, you can still carry over boosts like that. So it might be tricky to keep track of, but I'm sure it'll be ultimately very fine. Meaning that they still have a fate point that they're good with. Scared populace could have also been invoked against them, but I don't think it's necessary. Disrupted defenses has already been used as a scene aspect, and we're going to say that now pure terror is a consequence that they put onto their enemy, something that they can invoke. Because they have sown the seeds of pure terror, they are going to now engage in a disinfo/propaganda campaign against the ELO while they're dug in, while their forces are dug in. So let's see how they do in that. The 6, and he's gonna invoke easily to make that an 8. Kev can't invoke again, but it's going to be the peacemakers who try to keep the population in order. So they're rolling against basically an 8 because of Halloween Jack's stunt to provide an extra. No, it's a 7 rather. So they get a 6, meaning they take 7 mental stress actually. So 2 and anxious population. So they now have an extremely anxious population. That they have to deal with as a mod consequence, and one of their mental stress boxes are marked off. Bloody Valentine is a master of marching through territories that they're fighting and trying to conquer, and causing havoc like this, in this exact way. Kowtowing the population, sowing havoc and fear. And then finally, he's going to try to move and create a divisive line within District 3, within Suffragette, really. He's trying to create like zones that'll cut off or make it difficult for resources to be passed easily without the Seven Nation Army being able to intercept and take those for themselves. So he's going to have Coltrane do that with a movement thing of 3 against the we'll say Katie is kind of knows what the odds are like. No, we'll say Alkesha. Alkesha is like a pretty good person about security. So yeah, she succeeds. She makes sure that they have their resources open. So throughout this month-long engagement, whenever the Seven Nation Army has attempted to cut off supply lines, Alkesha has been leading a valiant fight against that. And now it is their turn. So they're going to try to use Katie to figure out like a better battle plan. After this, Katie is a very war-grizzled veteran now. She smokes a cigar and just looks at maps and plans all day. Oh, Jesus, with a 6. Yeah, she is going to create like a very strong advantage, hopefully, against the Seven Nation Army, maybe even a killing blow. It's going to target their soldiers specifically. So we're going to see how good, I guess, Halloween Jack is. Yeah, 5. He's not very good. He tried to plan for everything, but couldn't. This provides their group with a +1. I'm sorry, a +2, rather. So Katie has created an advantage. Because they were caught off guard, I'm going to say that the ELO group is going to accept now that it's been a month. Their trouble has changed since then. Now it's, no turning back. There's nowhere for them to run. They can't go anywhere. If the moon falls, they're dead. That is their trouble. There's no turning back. And because there's no turning back, they're going to take on a very risky sort of strategy based on what Katie's told them. One that they think will be able to deliver the killing blow as Kev Kavan sets up to assassinate President Valentine with 1 sniper shot. If he succeeds, it could be devastating. If not, I mean, he's going to expose himself. This requires him to be on a solo mission, more or less. He can't draw any attention. He's going to take up his old sniper rifle, find a tower somewhere in the district, try to lock down Bloody Valentine's position, and then get just a gunshot. If he's able to assassinate Bloody Valentine, this could all end. Alkesha is going to use her movement speed, try and move troops around to make it look like things are happening, that there isn't going to be an assassination attempt like this, that they aren't planning that. So she's going to try to use her move roll to get the attention of those people. With a 5 against, we'll say Parker Coltrane is the guy running the forces on the ground. Yeah, he can't. He takes the bait and thinks that they are basically now their ranks are broken. Psychologically, they've been attacked several times, so it's not even an issue. He just takes this bait completely. They are cocky enough where they don't even think that they need to invoke against the terrorized population, allowing Kev Kavan to make this roll. I'm going to say that because the movement is providing what it is, and because of Katie's thing, Kev has a +4 to this roll. Like, both rolls really are meant to create advantage for them. So at the end of the month, Kev Kavan goes to take this 1 sniper shot, and we'll see if he succeeds. Kev, raising his rifle high, takes aim and locks the crosshairs down on Bloody Valentine's forehead. Bloody Valentine lifting in slow motion a beer to his lips as he goes to drink and look down at various readouts and reports of how the war's been going. This could be it. This could be the end. Kev Kavan just steadies the rifle. He's got such good aim. On his shoulder, Knight Rider, his stand, is lining up the shot with a long distance scope, making sure that everything is perfect for this one moment. With a +4 and 2 fate points, this could be the end. Kev takes in a breath, holds it, and then fires. With a 5. Oh shit, he's not gonna make the shot. Valentine sees the shot coming right away. Using spin and a variety of different paranoias that he has, he immediately is able to try to, he sees it happening in slow motion and tries to duck the bullet. However, invoking the advantage that Katie gave him of what the best strategy would be, he is able to quickly, without even thinking, lower his rifle and fire off a second shot, giving that a +2, meeting that 7 roll. And then with Katie's roll, or Alkesha's roll, there's no other barriers or defenses around Bloody Valentine right now. They were caught off guard. The shot is going to hit him now, because instead of a +5, it's a +9. Bloody Valentine is going to invoke the... He kind of can't. There's nothing really for him to invoke against this. Like, he can't invoke... There's a mental consequence of there's an extremely anxious population. But I guess the chaos in the streets could be used, like, as a distraction for Kev. Maybe it makes him sweat a little more. Maybe his shot's going to be a little uneasy because there's people screaming and crying in the street and it's putting mental stress on him. We'll say it like that. So that puts their rolls at equal. But then Kev is able to invoke that he is one of the defending forces of the moon. Everything's up to him, just like it was in the Red Moon Massacre. He cannot fail in this instance. Putting his 9 at an 11, and then he's going to invoke again that there's no turning back, turning that 11 into a 13. The shot flies right through the beer can, but Bloody Valentine just spins the beer can, begins to spin it in hand, and just kind of spins it around. Whoa! Whoa! Ah! He's just spinning it inside of the can. All right, well, you got a lot of balls taking a shot at me like that. I didn't think it would get to the assassination step, but now that it has, it's time to use the ultimate weapon. And then a man with just a black hood on brings out a red button on a small device. Bloody Valentine just casually presses it and tosses the beer can over his shoulder. Hasta la vista, assholes! Unleash the nukes! And Kev Gavon's eyes go wide as he sees several nuclear weapons, rockets raining in on Suffragette and on Artemis. This is it. This is the end. Of course, it would be if it weren't for all the friendly, helpful robots that managed to intercept these missiles with slingshots by throwing their bodies in the way, doing backflips and jumping jacks, just bouncing off of trampolines high into the sky, or using their little rocket packs and little feet rockets to just fly right into these missiles and just detonate them in the air. The protective barrier that exists over the atmosphere helps to block out radiation. So as long as they're not detonated inside of the field, it's not an issue. But it does create vast reverberations across the field and paint the sky in a fiery orange and red. Several machines, from the electromagnetic shockwaves, from the force, from the great gravitational fluctuations, begin to explode, detonate. Although the nuclear weapons themselves didn't pierce the field, things are going very badly. And it goes on like that for quite some time. Until at last, the very buildings that they are both in begin to crumble and fall over. And it seems that District 3 and really a great deal of Suffragette are being just demolished by these shockwaves and reverberations. Unfortunately, no matter what you do in war and how you try to contain all the damage, it's just going to happen. Well, I did it, Jack. I got those bastards. They're not all dead, but I'm sure a lot of them are. I didn't even have to do that much. I just had to use those old dusty nuclear weapons that we had lying around. What do you think, buddy? Well, if I had to be honest, sir, I don't even know why we got into this war to begin with. It seemed that you were just upset about your car, but the car wasn't really worth that much, and you have several cars that are actually better than that car. So while I will always back you up, no matter really what the problem seems to be, I believe that we just did this for no reason, sir. I think that we just started a war and probably killed maybe tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people with no real need to do so. No, I hate the moon as much as anyone. But was it worth it, sir? Was it? Bloody Valentine burps in response and cracks open a fresh beer. It doesn't really matter if it's about sending a message. The message is keep your hands off my car at all times. And if you don't, I'm gonna send some nukes. Heirs to me and to victory. And he raises his beer can, and just as he does, a man in a suit takes it from his hand. What the hell? And then several men in suits grab Bloody Valentine and begin to drag him off, separating him from his ring. What is this? Do you know who I am? Oh, hold on a sec. Ow, you're hurting me now. Don't squeeze my arm. From the wreckage steps one man planning to get revenge for what's happened to the moon. Rich Tan. Hey there, Jack. I noticed that things got a little out of hand. I was busy. But it seems that you've blown everything up. Not appreciated. Kelly, crew cut steps in. What? Kelly, we're gonna take him to court, right? We're gonna sue the Seven Nation Army into just complete annihilation. Are we not? Yes, obviously. And also, probably going to turn them into like a subsidiary, make them make like shitty keychains or something for the rest of their lives. In fact, I would say for generations, you and everyone you have ever known on Earth will be making shitty keychains for the ELO. Millions and millions of years into the future. Your legacy won't be art or music or fine wine or anything. It's going to be crappy frisbees and just foam little insulated covers that you put mugs into and beer cans and such. Keep them at the proper temperature. That's going to be the Earth's memory. I'm going to make sure of it. Rich just folds his arms and says, "Yup, sounds about right. Well, sorry, Jack. I know that it seemed like a good idea to start a war on the moon and destroy everybody because of a car. I know it was your idea, by the way, because Bloody Valentine's a very reasonable guy. I don't think he would do that sort of thing. You always struck me as a weirdo, though. We're just going to sue you. We're going to win. And when we're done, well, you'll be making plenty of keychains for us. And fobs and, like, you know, probably beer can openers, beer bottle openers and such. So, you know, see you in court, buddy." Halloween Jack looks at the camera and says, "Oh no, what am I gonna do now?" Freeze frame, because that is what's going to happen next time we do one of these showcases. It's going to be a social slash mental series of contests as Halloween Jack attempts to get his friend Bloody Valentine out of jail and stop the Seven Nation Army from being sued into bankruptcy and oblivion and basically overrun by the ELO. A combination of different ELO forces that exist. So stay tuned for social combat as Halloween Jack attempts to keep the Seven Nation Army from filing for bankruptcy. Hope you enjoyed this scenario, and I will see you next team. Everybody,